CTV political analyst Tom Mulcair, former leader of the NDP, joining me now, following the story closely. What do you make of the story, Tom?
It's not going away. Trudeau has used every single tool in the government toolbox. He was trying to convince us a couple of weeks ago, well, three very neutral, totally independent, highly respected people looked at this and they found nothing. All three of them happen to be senior civil servants. In other words, they work for Mr. Trudeau. Nobody's taking anything away from their competence, but it's not independent. And then he said, well, I asked somebody really, really independent to look at their work to make sure it was okay. And that person, also somebody very capable, named Morris Rosenberg, well, he happened to be for several years the president and CEO of the Trudeau Foundation, named for Justin Trudeau's father. So it didn't wash with the Canadian public. So when the pressure started to build, he came up with the idea you just mentioned. Oh, I'm going to name a special rapporteur. So most people didn't even know what that was supposed to refer to. It's something out of the world of diplomacy, has nothing whatsoever to do with this. And to top it off, Mr. Trudeau is the only person in Canada who gets to call an inquiry. So he can't have an inquiry as to whether or not he should have an inquiry. He can't subdelegate to somebody else, anybody else, powers that are strictly his. He is the Prime Minister, the First Minister. He is the person responsible for overseeing the government. And at the cabinet table, he'd be the one to make that decision. But again, he's always trying to back away from this thing. And the more he does that, Todd, the more the average Canadian, 70%, according to the polls, is just saying something doesn't wash in this whole story. We want a full rendering of account. We want a full, complete, total public commission of inquiry.
Do you think that's inevitable, Tom, that there will be a public inquiry eventually?
It is inevitable, and its very inevitability begs the question, so why is he fighting so hard to try to avoid it? And the only answer people are able to come up with is there's stuff in there that is very harmful to the Liberals generally and to him personally. Because if you look at the documents that are already public, we know that Trudeau and the people closest to him were told that this interference by the Chinese government was taking place. But heavens, in November, Trudeau made a point with his team of boasting that he had upbraided President Xi of China at the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. We all recall that picture of Trudeau with President Xi. They said it's because they were interfering in our elections. When he got back to Parliament, they tried to ask him questions about it in question period. He pretended that, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. So it's always one thing and its opposite. And you know what? You can't say one thing and its opposite and both be true. And if there was indeed, and every indication is that if there was indeed interference by the Chinese government in Canadian elections, that's the bedrock of our democracy. It is what we base ourselves on to have a free society. And we can't fool around with it. And we have to make sure we get to the bottom of it. It's in the national interest. Trudeau knows that, but he's still stalling, and it doesn't look good on him.
It's interesting, too, that some of the narrative now from certain Trudeau ministers is the following, Tom. This goes on all over the place. The Chinese are doing this in many countries. Canada is not alone. But talk to me about the seriousness. We don't know how deep this is. We don't know if it's actually happening. These are allegations at this point. But what potentially this could mean if this kind of thing is going on?
Well, it could mean that the democratic process itself is in danger. The countries that have been undermining democracy are principally Russia. We saw them intervening in 2016 in the United States, and that got us Donald Trump. And we've watched the Chinese, yes, doing this in different places. But how can that be an answer for Canadians? Oh, don't worry. The Chinese are interfering in democracies all over the world because they have a communist dictatorship and they don't like democracies. So we're just not going to do anything about it? And how can that possibly be the only answer that we provide to ourselves about how we're going to defend the very core of our democratic institutions? So that doesn't wash with Canadians. Nobody's accepting that as an answer so far, and quite rightly so. And we're going to find out in due course who this so-called special rapporteur is. It's all a stalling tactic right now, Todd, because what we're heading for, obviously, is a full commission of inquiry. But what I've started to hear on background from very senior Liberals, because don't forget, I was provincially a Liberal in Quebec, I was a minister, and I still have lots of people from the Liberal side who talk to me. They're trying to make sure that Mr. Trudeau understands that this is his legacy mandate, that he's going to get things like dental care done and perhaps pharmacare and look at the nice health deals with the provinces. In other words, they're trying to start greasing the skids because they know that his time is up. Does he know that? Chrystia Freeland, again, sending signals that she might want to go to NATO. And last time she did that, it seemed that whatever explicit or implied deal she thought she had with Trudeau for a succession wasn't on the ropes, and she wasn't there anymore, and she was going to leave. So she's one of his most capable ministers. I would say the most capable person around his cabinet table. And if she leaves after Marc Garneau and after others are already starting to make noises, it's not a good sign for Trudeau's leadership and his future in politics, frankly.